Religious girlfriend confesses to getting drunk and having fun with for men and party, but the truth was far darker. I've been seeing my girlfriend, who will name Katie, for 4 years. We met while we were in college. Her parents were strict when she was in high school, so I'm the first person she's ever dated because of their religious beliefs. Her parents oppose having sex before me. Marriage. We've been waiting since. Katie and her parents are really close, even though I don't really care about it. I had intended to pop the question within the next 6 months. Now that she had graduated, I had chosen a ring and everything. This girl had me completely smitten, but last night, or more precisely last weekend, that all changed. Since high school, Katie has had a male closest friend whom her parents disapproved of due to his sexual orientation. Let us refer to him as the I am. Being in the same college as him meant they could spend as much time together as they wanted, which made her very happy. Although I've never been a huge fan of the male best friend dynamic, I was willing to overlook it because he was allegedly gay. However, he came out as bisexual 2 years ago. I requested Katie to stop spending time with him alone because I never felt comfortable in his presence. She said that, like her parents, I tried to control her and didn't support him. I informed her that I would not be staying for it, but that it was up to her if she wanted to continue seeing him alone. Although it was the largest issue we had ever faced together, we managed to resolve it as a compromise. We agreed that Liam and his partner could spend time with me and Katie together, but never by themselves. I only wanted to establish a fair limit. I never intended to cut her off from her pals, but until Liam transferred to another institution during the summer, the four of us only met up twice. Katie continued to communicate with him via Discord, maintain friendships with him and his ex-boyfriend, and even joined them and a few other pals to create a gaming server. Despite the fact that the majority of these bodies were guys, she reassured me that nothing amusing was happening and that the majority of them even had girlfriends. Liam invited her to his birthday celebration last weekend to make sure I was comfortable with her leaving. Katie wanted to discuss it with me first. Even though it was only a 2-hour drive away, she claimed she hadn't seen him in 2 years. There would be a number of her Discord server pals, including women who she had never met in person before, as well as Lim's girlfriend. Unfortunately, I couldn't accompany her because I had a weekend excursion schedule that would take me out on Friday and return on Sunday. However, I assured Kate that I trusted her and that I didn't mind if she went to see her friends. The issue began on Saturday evening. She sent me a text message in the morning while she was heading to the party, another text when she arrived, and a few more messages to check in during the day around 9 or 10 p.m. Katie and for me, she intended to drive back. However, the messages ceased at that moment. I didn't bother her because I thought she was just enjoying herself and didn't want to come across as domineering. She eventually arrived at approximately 2 in the morning and I stayed up to keep an eye on her whereabouts to make sure she got home safely. Although it was out of the ordinary, I trusted her and didn't want to assume anything. I assumed she would explain that she simply got caught up in having fun with her pals. When I called older in the morning, she didn't pick up the phone when I called her on Sunday morning. A few minutes later, she wrote back to say she wasn't feeling well, had been sleeping and had a hangover. Given that Katie doesn't drink, this was odd. I wished her well, advised her to drink a lot of water, and boarded my trip home. She was cuddled up in my bed in the dark when I got to my flat. She has my apartment's key, but she rarely uses it because I'm typically there to open the door with her. She remained silent when I questioned her about why she hadn't stayed at her flat to relax. She has hardly left my room since and has been complaining about not feeling well for the entire week. I've been visiting home during my lunch breaks to check on her since she took time off from work. In the back of my mind, I was dubious of what had transpired at the party over the weekend, but I was also frightened for her. Katie sobbed as she woke me up from the couch late last night. Other than using the rest room, it was the first time Mom had left my room since I returned home. I asked her what was wrong. After comforting her until she was able to speak clearly, she told me that she had committed a terrible act. Liam offered to bring her home after she admitted to being incredibly intoxicated by accident on Saturday night. After leaving Liam off, 3 of her buddies from the Discord gaming server hopped in a second car to follow them and drive her home. They assisted Katie in climbing the stairs and entering her flat. Once they arrived, then she had intercourse with them all. She claimed each of the format. According to Katie, she was completely out of it and doesn't recall the majority of it because she loves me so much and didn't want to upset me. She said she's been unwell ever since and has been trying to figure out how to tell me she threw away her virginity, which she was ostensibly saving for marriage, to for other guys rather than the man who had taken care of her for the previous 4 years. Even though she didn't mean to upset me, I found her at my apartment because she said she intended to inform me as soon as I returned, but she couldn't bring herself to do so since she didn't want to lose me. She pleaded with me not to end our relationship. I informed her that I needed some alone time to reflect. After that, she pleaded with me not to force her to return to her apartment. I told her she may return to my room as I didn't want to quarrel. Throughout the night, I could hear her sobbing. Sport Radically, admittedly, I was moved to tears myself. It's unbelievable that she would ruin our 4 years of relationship over a single party. I was about to pop the question. My faith in her has been betrayed. I haven't been able to concentrate all day at work. If she's still there, a part of me wants to tell her to leave as soon as I get home and that I don't want to see her ever again. A part of me wants to speak with her more and try to repair what we have left. I am unable to determine which perspective is more rational. How can I get around this update? This is triggering alerts everywhere. I apologize to everyone who missed my last post. I'm finally getting around to writing this because my girlfriend went to bed early and I have nothing else due to start. If you don't care, you can go straight to the update. I believe my previous post was removed due to accusations of being fraudulent. I wasn't spending time in the comments refuting every charge, which is one of the main reasons why many appear to believe it was a fake. Since I left work to see how Katie was doing, I hadn't even opened Reddit at the time. It wasn't even close to my top priority. One moment he says he has her location and the next he's surprised she's at his apartment. Is a simple and quick way to refute this, just to make sure she made it home safely. I looked up her whereabouts on Saturday night. Since I am not a stalker who follows her everywhere, I did not look up her location. After that, I wouldn't have known her precise location unless I had checked our tags between my trip and my arrival home, because the iPhone displays your location in the text messages you exchange with that person. Furthermore, not everyone owns an iPhone. My girlfriend and I use an app. Since I do but she doesn't, I don't need to be a stalker. Therefore, no, I don't receive notifications from the app. Random access of details. I apologize. I wanted to let everything out since, as I previously stated, I had been holding my breath since she and for me what had transpired that evening. I had all of those information about the situation circling around in my mind. The core content is flawless, but the update is riddled with typos. Only the TLD update was written by the OP after learning that my partner may have been raped. I apologize for being a little disorganized and rushed. By the way, I've gone back and correct the mistakes after I shut down Reddit. I had no clue that my article would receive hundreds of more comments. It's each of them critically examining every word I said in the letter. There isn't any worry at all that she's become pregnant. No concerns regarding STIs, nothing. No, I wasn't even certain that I would remain with her. If I had stayed, I would have been worried about becoming pregnant and getting Santa eyes, but at the time of writing I thought she had cheated on me and was considering ending our relationship. No worries that she was potentially drugged and raped. Not at the time of writing. Once more, she had told me that she had intercourse with 4 men and I was still in shock. I would have thought she would have mentioned getting raped or drugged, but she didn't. I hadn't even considered the possibility that she might be in denial herself until I read all the responses. Does this devout girl who desire to postpone marriage now want to be trained run on or fake? Of course no. Oh, it turns out that she didn't want anything to do with what transpired. Look at the remainder of the subreddit. If you're among those who said someone in my position wouldn't have taken the time to write everything out for a post, there wouldn't be any posts here at all. If people in difficult situations didn't share their experiences, you may personally expletive off everyone who imply that it was a hoax or that she must have been a cow for men to carry her up the stairs. Even though I wish what I wrote wasn't true, everything above was a bunch of pretentious bullshit. For the record, I just included all of that in order to prevent harassment on this thread. If none of that applies to you, you can go straight to the section. I want to express my gratitude to everyone who assisted with this. As reading over all of the comments let me realize what actually occurred. Joe. As before lunch I left work and went straight home to see how my girlfriend was doing. She was lying in bed sobbing just as I had left her after getting her permission. My initial action was to simply go hold her. I shared her tears. I eventually broached the subject of what had transpired that evening. Was any of that really what she wanted to happen? Despite the fact that a lot was said, she did not. As many of you urged, to be clear, the friends she was with the party were also intimate friends of Liam, her best buddy of 8 years, and not just strangers she met online. They were folks she had spoken to and played games with over the past year, but she had never met them in person. Over her headset I would frequently hear her conversing with them and I never noticed anything odd. I was glad she had people to play with as she gained, because she's somewhat shy and introverted. She also claimed that there were 4 or 5 ladies working in the server, so they weren't all men. 3 of the guys and 2 of the ladies were present at the gathering. Lim's girlfriend, a few of other pals, and several of their partners were also there. There were only around 15 people in total, and most of them knew one another. A little get-together of Lee's closest pals at his residence was all that was intended to happen. It wasn't even intended for alcohol to play a significant role, since they hadn't been able to come together in person for a while. The most of them were just enjoying themselves at the start of the party. Since many of the attendees were LGBTQ+, there was little distinction between the sexes to engage in general mingling and socializing. Some people divided into small groups to talk. One of the visitors gave everyone mystery shots about the halfway point of the celebration. Liam persuaded Katie to take it for his birthday even though she first objected. Everyone urged her to try the shot after learning that she had never had one before. Liam emphasized that it was just one shot and that it would wear off before she had to drive home. If not, he offered she may wait as long as it took for her to feel safe behind the wheel. She finally took the shot because she felt pressed. Things became a little less obvious after that. More people were drinking and hanging out. She is unsure of the specific individuals who continued to give her alcohol, claiming she didn't want to spoil Liam's celebration. If nothing else, she was confidently and would protect her. Katie claimed that even though she didn't feel well, she trusted him to let her know if something isn't right and that he kept telling her that everything was okay. She recalls being quite ill, witnessing other people faint on the couch and hearing Liam expressed his desire to drive her home himself in order to check on her. He expressed regret for allowing her to become so damaged and apologized. She recalls to other Discord males getting into his car after one of her friends promised Liam he would follow them in his car and bring Liam back later. She remembers Liam helping her get sober in the car by offering her a bottle of water. She recalls them laughing as they carried her upstairs to her apartment and brought her inside. I won't go into any more detail than that. She didn't want anything that occurred to happen. Where she gullible? Perhaps did she likely overlook some warning signs and make some poor decisions? Yes, however, Katie wasn't worthy of that. The men who committed this are to blame. I'm not giving her a deadline and she doesn't want to disclose anything to the police. I completely support her decision and I've read a lot about how horrible that process can be. Of course, I'll support her through that as well if she ever decides she does want to submit a report. We're going to visit a physician. Katie claims that she has been in a lot of discomfort, which is one of the reasons she spent the majority of this time curled up in bed. After some persuasion and assurance, she consented even though she really doesn't want to be prodded down there. In addition to seeing her on Monday, we'll also get tested for STR and pregnancy, two things we're equally concerned about. We've spoken a lot over the weekend. Both of us have shed many tears. Hugs and consoling one another when necessary have been shared in abundance. At least she gets some sunlight in the bedroom now that I've opened the curtains. I'm not forcing her to return to her apartment. For those who were worried and to those who suggested it, no, I won't be reading her out to her parents, nor would I abandon her now or after she recovers. In order to find someone who isn't damaged, in order to care for her, attend as many doctor's visits as necessary, schedule therapy and other activities. I will be taking the entire next week off, although I doubt I will ever be able to make up for a time I spent apart from her this past week. I promise to support her through whatever comes next. Once more, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who left a comment on my initial post and made me understand what a self-centered idiot I was. I hope that everyone who was worried would find this update helpful, though I hope we can get there. Katie isn't feeling well at the moment. Comments were okay. He has replied, commenter up, you do what you think is best, but I want to add something to make sure she considers it, because these pieces of here and abroad do this to all women, not just herself. As much as I would like to say Katie won't be the last, she wasn't the first. These rapes all mama board Mensa bomb. She is prepared to allow this to occur repeatedly if she is unwilling to act morally and report the violence. You should also speak with Liam, her friend, and find out why he abandoned her to be raped. This is what he did. He let it occur. He has to deal with this and he can either support her or oppose her. Shish. She must inform her parents. You are sticking with a cheater, therefore please stop updating if she is unwilling to do this. I will not issue an ultimatum to her. She doesn't report, so I won't label her a cheater. Following the retry, it is Asian that comes with reporting and everything that follows. Rape victims have taken their own lives. I gave it a thorough investigation. Have you? Are you assuming without having first-hand experience what occurs in our legal system? Warning, all four of them would probably walk even if she did report, nor am I forcing her to tell her overly developer parents so they can shot embarrass her. Man, she is not responsible for this. The men who committed this are the ones who must be prepared to act morally and put an end of our rape.